Now the anal canal is basically about 12 to 15 centimeter long, and at the starting point it has the same diameter as that of the sigmoid colon. But in the lower part it gets dilated to form the rectal ampulla. So in the starting it has the same diameter as that of sigmoid colon, but then it gets dilated in the lower part, and that lower dilated part is known as rectal ampulla. Now its name is basically rectum. Rectum का मतलब होता है straight. As you are familiar with, you have seen the muscles rectus femoris, rectus abdominis. The word rectus basically means straight, but it is not straight. If we see it, it shows the curvatures in the sagittal plane as well as side to side curvatures. So you can see these are the sagittal curvature. Sagittal curvature means anterior posterior curvature. It is not exactly straight. It shows the two flexures, that is two anterior posterior curvatures, and similarly it also shows side to side curvatures. That is, it shows convexity on the right side or on the left side. These are known as side to side curvatures or lateral curvatures. Okay, so basically its name is straight, but it is not straight. It shows the curvatures. Now the characteristic features of the large intestine which we have studied, that is the presence of sacculations, presence of appendices epicloacae. These characteristic features of large intestine, they are absent in the rectum. They are not seen in the rectum. Now where the rectum is located. This diagram is showing the sagittal section of the male pelvis. So anteriorly this is the pubic bone and posteriorly this is the sacrum and the coccyx. Now anteriorly this is the urinary bladder and below the apex of urinary bladder this is the prostate gland. So the rectum basically is situated in the posterior part of the pelvic cavity between the sigmoid colon and the anal canal. So it is situated in the posterior part of pelvic cavity and in front of the lower three pieces of the sacrum. So as I have told you, it lies between the sigmoid colon and anal canal. So basically it lies between the rectosigmoid junction and the anorectal junction. So what is the demarcation of the rectosigmoid junction? Rectosigmoid junction lies at the level of the S3 vertebrae, that is third sacral vertebrae, and the anorectal junction lies at the tip of just below the tip of the coccyx, in front of the 2 to 3 centimeter of the tip of the coccyx. So it lies between rectosigmoid junction and anorectal junction. Rectosigmoid junction lies at the level of third sacral vertebrae and anorectal junction lies at the just below the tip of the coccyx, 2 to 3 centimeter in front of the coccyx. Then is the antero-posterior. What are the curvatures? So antero-posterior curvatures. Now one there is a sacral flexure and other is the perineal flexure. There are two antero-posterior curvatures, or we also call them as sagittal curvatures. Sacral flexion means it follows the concavity of sacrum and coccyx. Now you have studied the sacrum and you know that the pelvic surface of sacrum is not straight. The pelvic surface of the sacrum is concave. So जो rectum होता है, it follows the concavity of the pelvic surface of the sacrum. That is known as sacral flexion. Then is a perineal flexure. Perineal flexure जो होता है, it is present at the anorectal junction. So if you see at the anorectal junction, there is a sling formed by a muscle, that is puborectalis muscle. At the anorectal junction, a sling is formed by the puborectalis muscle, and that puborectalis muscle is a part of levator ani. Now due to that puborectalis sling, there is an angle present between the rectum of the puborectalis sling. So perineal fracture is present at the anorectal junction. Due to this, you can see there is a backward bend present at the anorectal junction, and you see an angle between rectum and anal canal with a forward convexity. This is known as perineal flexure. दो flexure होते हैं sagittal flexure, that is the sacral flexure and the perineal flexure. So these are the two flexures. Then side to side curvatures, there are three curvatures. Upper and lower, they are convexity shows the convexity is towards the right side, and the middle curvature shows the convexity towards the left side. These are side to side curvatures or the lateral curvatures. Okay. Now we'll see the peritoneal relations. We will see the peritoneal relation. We will see the relations of the rectum. Now this is again a sagittal section of the male pelvis. Anteriorly this is pubic bone, and posteriorly this is the sacrum and coccyx. This is the urinary bladder with the at the apex of urinary bladder. This is the prostate gland, and this is the prostatic part of urethra. This is the seminal vesical gland, and this is the rectum and anal canal posteriorly. This greenish color is showing the peritoneal reflection. So upper 1/3 of the rectum is covered by peritoneum on the anterior aspect as well as on the side wall. ठीक है, तो upper 1/3 में side पे भी peritoneum होता है, anterior wall पे भी. But in the middle 1/3 it is covered by peritoneum only on its anterior aspect. ठीक है, so middle 1/3. So upper 1/3 and middle 1/3 they are covered by peritoneum. Lower 1/3 of rectum is devoid of peritoneum. Now, in the males, the peritoneum is reflected from the rectum, that is at the junction of middle and lower 1/3, to the lateral part of base of bladder and the superior surface of bladder, and the pouch is formed that is known as rectovesical pouch. So, in the males, the rectum is covered by peritoneum in the upper 1/3 and middle 1/3. At the junction of middle and lower 1/3, the peritoneum is reflected onto the superior surface of the urinary bladder to form a rectovesical pouch. Then in the females again, this is the sagittal section of pelvis in females. This is anteriorly, this is the pubic bone. Posteriorly, this is the sacrum and coccyx. This is the behind, just behind the pubic bone. This is the urinary bladder. The urethra is comparatively short in females. Behind the urinary bladder, this is the section of the uterus, and this is the vagina. Then behind it, this is in the posterior part of pelvic cavity, this is the rectum and anal canal. Now, similarly as in males, similarly in females also, the upper 1/3 of rectum is covered by peritoneum on the anterior aspect as on the side. In the middle 1/3, it is covered by peritoneum only on its anterior aspect. Then the peritoneum at the junction of middle 1/3 and lower 1/3, it is reflected onto the posterior fornix of vagina to form the rectouterine pouch. So, in the females, the peritoneum is reflected onto the posterior fornix of vagina to form the rectouterine pouch. So, this is the rectouterine pouch of Douglas in females. The contents of rectovesical pouch and rectovaginal pouch, rectovesical or rectouterine pouch is same. It contains the coils of small intestine and the coils of the sigmoid colon. Okay. So these are the peritoneal relations of rectum. That is, in the upper 1/3 it is covered by peritoneum on sides as well as in front. But in the middle 1/3 it is covered by peritoneum only on its anterior aspect. Lower 1/3 of rectum is not covered by peritoneum. Is it clear till here? Clear till here? Any confusion? Should we proceed further? Okay. Now we'll see the anterior relations. Now अभी हमने peritoneal relations देखे हैं. अब हम below the peritoneum reflection यानी जो lower 1/3 of rectum है उसके क्या relation है? The part of the rectum which is not covered by the perineum. So this is again the sagittal section of pelvis in males. This is anteriorly, this is the pubic bone. Posteriorly, this is the sacrum and coccyx. This is the urinary bladder. Rectum in the posterior part of pelvic cavity. Now this is the rectovesical pouch. of peritoneal pouch between the rectum and the bladder, urinary bladder. Now, there is one fascia extends below that is known as rectovesical fascia of Denone. This is the, there is a fascia is present. Now, this due to this rectovesical fascia of Denone is separates the rectum from the urinary bladder, from the prostate gland, from the seminal vesicles, and the terminal part of the ductus deferens. I repeat. Now, this is the anterior relations of rectum below the level of peritoneal reflection. Below the level of peritoneal reflection means this is the lower 1/3 part. क्योंकि middle 1/3 तक तो rectum जो है peritoneum से covered है. So, lower 1/3 of rectum is related to rectovesical fascia of Denone, and this fascia separates the rectum from the urinary bladder, from the prostate gland, from the seminal vesicle gland and the terminal part of ductus deferens. Terminal part of ductus deferens इसमें नहीं दिख रहा है. So these are the relations of the rectum below the level of peritoneum. Then in females, now in females below the level of the peritoneal reflection, that is the lower 1/3 of rectum is related to the vagina. Okay, this is the vaginal canal and this is the lower 1/3 of rectum which is not covered by peritoneum. So it is related anterior to the vaginal canal. So this is in the females. Okay, so these are the now इसका डायरेक्ट डायग्राम आपकी बुक में रिलेशन का सिर्फ शायद मेल का दिया, फीमेल का नहीं. You can refer the respective chapter for that. So in your book there is a, you have to refer the that page for the diagram. Like in males, it is diagram is not for the males. They have given a diagram. For the female, you can refer the figure 13.125, page 458. ठीक है? So आप एक common diagram याद रख लो. जैसे males का याद रखो, this is in males, sagittal section of pelvis in males, sagittal section of pelvis in females. अगर आप ये डायग्राम याद रखोगे तो सिर्फ आपको तीन स्ट्रक्चर, तीन ऑर्गन्स के जो रिलेशन है साइमल्टेनियसली याद होगी. यूरिनरी ब्लैडर के, यूट्रस के और रेक्टम के. सिमिलरली अगर आप ये डायग्राम याद रखोगे आपको यूरिनरी ब्लैडर के रिलेशंस याद होंगे मेल्स में, प्रोस्टेट के रिलेशंस याद होंगे और रेक्टम के. सो प्रैक्टिस फॉर द डायग्राम. In the exam, you have all of you have drawn very less diagrams. Very few students have drawn the diagram. अगर आप एक दो sagittal section याद रखते हो, एक मेल का और फीमेल का, वो प्रॉपर ढंग से डायग्राम जैसे बुक में दिया हुआ है, तो एक डायग्राम याद रखोगे तो आपको तीन विसरा के रिलेशंस याद होंगे. अगर ये डायग्राम याद रखोगे तो आपको रिलेशंस याद होंगे यूरिनरी ब्लैडर के, प्रोस्टेट के, रेक्टम के. सिमिलरली अगर ये फीमेल का याद रखोगे तो यूरिनरी ब्लैडर, यूट्रस और रेक्टम, तीन स्ट्रक्चर विसरा के आपको साइमल्टेनियसली रिलेशंस याद होते हैं. सो प्रैक्टिस फॉर द डायग्राम. Now in the posterior, now we come to the posterior relation. In the posterior relation, there is present a Waldeur's fascia. Waldeur's fascia is basically facial thickening. It is a thick, this thickening, it connects the sacrum and coccyx with the rectum. So this Waldeur's fascia, this is a facial thickening which connects the posterior aspect of rectum with the sacrum and coccyx. It contains the lymph nodes, lymphatics, and the perirectal fat. So, Waldeur's fascia. Now, what are the other posterior relation? एक तो हमने facial relation पढ़ा कि एक facial thickening जो आपने याद रखी, ये facial thickening इसलिए important है, ये जो facial thickening जो होती हैं rectum के around, because they provide the support to the rectum. And plus, when there occurs a calcan, along the thickness, usually lymphatics or lymph nodes are present. So, in case there occurs to remove the rectum along with the facial thickenings which are containing the lymph nodes or lymphatics, because of their tendency for the lymphatic spread of the carcinoma of rectum. Now, what are the other posterior relations? First, in the midline. ठीक है? तो कई बार जब हम सैक्रम पूछते हैं तो सैक्रम में भी हम पूछ लेते हैं व्हाट आर द स्ट्रक्चर्स व्हिच आर रिलेटेड, व्हिच आर posteriorly related to rectum. So midline posterior relations. So one is the median sacral artery. Median sacral artery, which is the dorsal branch of abdominal aorta. Then is the ganglion impar. What is basically ganglion impar? There are two sympathetic trunks, right and left sympathetic trunk. जो sympathetic trunk होती है वो basically base of skull से start हो जाती है. So it starts from the base of the skull. Then when you study the head neck part, there you will study the cervical part of sympathetic chain. Thorax में thoracic part of sympathetic chain. Then in the abdomen, lumbar part of sympathetic chain. Then these sympathetic chains, they unite in front of the coccyx. So right or left sympathetic chain, they unite in the front of coccyx to form a ganglion impar. So sympathetic trunks basically start from the base of skull, and then these sympathetic chains join in the front of the coccyx. The posterior relation is ganglion impar. Then there are three pieces of sacrum and the coccyx, and there is a fibrous band, that is the inococcygeal ligament. I repeat, the midline posterior relation is there is a median sacral artery, then lower three pieces of sacrum and coccyx, ganglion impar, which is formed by the union of right and left sympathetic trunks, and the inococcygeal ligament. Then other posterior relations which are on either side of midline is right and left sympathetic trunks, then vessels, then there are also superior rectal vessels, then muscles are piriformis muscle, coccygeus muscle, levator ani muscle. Now these foraminae which you see in the pelvic surface of sacrum, these are the pelvic sacral foraminae. Through the pelvic sacral foraminae passes the ventral rami of the sacral spinal nerves. So the nerves which are in relation to the rectum is the ventral primary rami of third, fourth, and fifth sacral spinal nerve and the first coccygeal nerve. So I repeat all the posterior relations. First is fascia of Waldeyer, median sacral artery, ganglion impar, lower three pieces of sacrum and coccyx, inococcygeal ligament, then right and left sympathetic trunk, then piriformis muscle, coccygeus muscle, levator ani muscle, then there are lower lateral sacral vessels, superior rectal vessels, ventral primary rami of third, fourth, and fifth sacral spinal nerve, and ventral rami of first coccygeal nerve. So these are all the structures which are present in the posterior relations of sacrum. Is it clear to you, all of you? Anybody want to ask anything? Anybody want to ask anything till here? There is a diagram given 33.4 for the posterior relations of sacrum. Is it clear to all of you? Yes or no? एक posterior relation of sacrum का diagram दिया हुआ है book में. जब हम sacrum पूछते हैं तो उसमें भी पूछ सकते हैं कि what are the structures related to what are the posterior relation of sacrum, because as it is related to these structures are related to sacrum. So these are the posterior relations of the sacrum. Now in the anterior of rectum there are present mucosal folds. Now there are certain transverse folds are present within the interior of the rectum. These transverse folds, they are known as walls of Houston, or they are known as plica transverse cells. These folds, they are permanent transverse folds. They do not disappear with the distension of stomach. So these permanent transverse folds present within the rectum, they are known as walls of Houston. There is three folds, upper, middle, and lower fold, but sometimes there can be fourth fold also may be present. Okay, so out of these upper, middle, and lower fold, middle fold is the largest and it is most constant fold, and usually it is present on the right side and on the anterior wall of the rectum. And this middle fold divides the rectum into two parts, upper part and the lower part. Functionally two different parts, upper part and the lower part. So out of these three folds, middle fold is the largest and it is most constant, and sometimes fourth fold may be present. present. So these are permanent transverse folds. Now what is the arterial supply of the rectum? So in this diagram, you can see this is the abdominal aorta dividing into right and left common iliac artery, and which further divides into external and internal iliac artery. Now here only the internal iliac artery is shown. Okay, external iliac artery remove for this is the internal iliac artery. So the arterial supply of the rectum is mainly from the superior rectal artery. Now you know superior rectal artery is a continuation of inferior mesenteric artery, and inferior mesenteric artery is a ventral branch of abdominal aorta. Other arteries which supply the rectum are median sacral artery, which is a dorsal branch of abdominal aorta, and the middle rectal artery. Middle rectal artery is a branch of internal iliac artery. So main arterial supply is from the superior rectal artery, which is a continuation of inferior mesenteric artery. Now please hear this carefully. Rectal venous plexus. ठीक है, venous drainage. Rectal venous plexus ध्यान से सुनना, नहीं समझ आए तो वापस पूछ लेना, because this is also same thing is written आपकी बुक में. अगर आप एनल कैनाल देखोगे उसमें ये एक रेक्टल वीनस प्लेक्सस डिटेल में दिया हुआ है, ठीक है, बट मैं यहाँ रेक्टम में बता रही हूँ बिकॉज इट इज सेम, द वीनस प्लेक्सस इज सेम हियर. यू कैन सी ऑन पेज नंबर 483 वहां पे इनल कैनाल की डिस्क्रिप्शन में रेक्टल वीनस प्लेक्सस डिटेल में दिया हुआ है, ठीक है. दिस इज आल्सो इम्पोर्टेंट बिकॉज सेम जब हम applied aspect of anal canal पढ़ेंगे, that is hemorrhoids, which is an important applied aspect of anal canal, commonly known as piles. तो सेम वहां पे डिस्क्रिप्शन आपको मेंशन करनी होती है. So basically in the rectum there is present a venous plexus, rectum and anal canal, that is known as rectal venous plexus. Broadly इस plexus को हम दो में डिवाइड करते हैं, external venous plexus, internal venous plexus. Internal venous plexus का मतलब है it lies just beneath the rectum. Now you know the four layers of the microscopically, four layers of the intestine. So same here. So internal rectal and anal epithelium, sorry, and the external venous plexus lies outside the muscular wall. और दोनों plexus जो है external और internal ये दोनों एक दूसरे से communicate करते हैं, ठीक है. Sorry, see this diagram. Now here you can see in this diagram, this is the rectum and this is the anal canal part. This is the internal rectal venous plexus. This is the external venous plexus. Okay, so there are two plexus present around the rectum and anal canal. That is the external venous plexus and internal rectal venous plexus. जो internal venous plexus होता है वो just beneath the epithelium होता है, और जो external होता है वो outside the muscular layer होता है. Is it clear to you? दो venous plexus होते हैं, external and internal venous plexus. Is it clear to you? Yes or no? So दो venous plexus होते हैं, external और internal rectal venous plexus, and you can see both the plexus they are communicating with each other. ठीक है, ये internal rectal venous plexus है, ये external rectal venous plexus है, और दोनों plexus एक दूसरे से communicate करते हैं. अब ध्यान से सुनना, जो internal rectal venous plexus है, it is drained mainly by the superior rectal vein. जो internal rectal venous plexus है, it is mainly drained by the superior rectal vein. जो basically क्या होता है, जो upper end होता है internal rectal venous का, वहां से superior rectal vein के radicals शुरू होते हैं. मतलब वहां से venous radicals start होते हैं 6 to 10, and then these venous radicals, ये आप देख सकते हो, these are the venous radicals of the superior rectal vein, and then these venous radicals they join to form the trunk of the superior rectal vein, which ultimately continues as inferior mesenteric vein. Inferior mesenteric vein drains into splenic vein, and splenic vein drains into portal vein. I repeat, from the upper end of internal rectal venous plexus starts the radicals of the venous radicals of superior rectal vein. ठीक है, ये almost 6 होते हैं, and then these join to form superior rectal vein, which continues as inferior mesenteric vein. Inferior mesenteric vein, now you know it drains into splenic vein, and splenic vein drains into the portal vein. Is it clear to all of you? जो अपर एंड होता है रेक्टल वीनस प्लेक्सस का, इंटरनल रेक्टल वीनस प्लेक्सस का, वहां से टर्मिनल रेडिकल सुपीरियर रेक्टल वेन के स्टार्ट होते हैं, 6 होते हैं. यू कैन सी 1 2 3 4 5 6. ये छह के छह रेडिकल्स ज्वाइन करके बनाते हैं सुपीरियर रेक्टल वेन. ठीक है. देन द lower end of external rectal venous plexus is drained by inferior rectal vein. जो external venous plexus है, it is drained by inferior rectal vein. Inferior rectal vein drained into internal pudendal vein, which drains into internal iliac vein. Then the middle part of the rectal venous plexus is drained by middle rectal vein. Middle rectal vein drains into internal iliac vein. ठीक है. तो जो रेक्टल वीनस प्लेक्सस होता है उसके दो पार्ट्स होते हैं, एक्सटर्नल और इंटरनल रेक्टल वीनस प्लेक्सस. इंटरनल और एक्सटर्नल रेक्टल वीनस प्लेक्सस दोनों एक दूसरे से कम्युनिकेट करते हैं. अपर एंड ऑफ द इंटरनल रेक्टल वीनस प्लेक्सस इज ड्रेन्ड बाय सुपीरियर रेक्टल वेन. मिडल पार्ट ऑफ द वीनस प्लेक्सस इज ड्रेन्ड बाय मिडल रेक्टल वेन. मिडल रेक्टल वेन ड्रेन्स इनटू इंटरनल iliac vein. Then the lower end of the plexus, that is external venous plexus, is drained by inferior rectal vein, and inferior rectal vein drains into internal pudendal vein, and internal pudendal vein into internal iliac vein. Now we again read this thing. There are two parts of rectal venous plexus, external and internal. External lies beneath the epithelium, external lies outside the muscular wall. Internal and external venous plexus, they communicate with each other. Internal rectal venous plexus mainly drain into superior rectal vein. Superior rectal vein formed from internal rectal venous plexus begins as 6 vessels, and ultimately these 6 vessels join to form superior rectal vein. Superior rectal vein continues as inferior mesenteric vein. Inferior portion of external venous plexus is drained by inferior rectal vein. Middle portion of plexus is drained by middle. So is it clear to all of you? Any confusion, please ask. Till now, any confusion, especially in the rectal venous plexus, please ask. Any confusion till here? Any confusion till here in the rectal venous plexus? This is important for the piles. That's why I'm asking. Okay. So overall, if we see, you can see this is a diagram showing the rectal venous plexus. This is the inferior vena cava. This is the common iliac vein dividing into external and internal iliac vein. This is the internal iliac vein. You can see superior end of plexus is drained by superior rectal vein, middle part by middle rectal vein, and lower part of plexus is drained by inferior rectal vein. Okay. So overall, if we see the venous drainage of rectum, it is upper part of the rectum by superior rectal vein, the lower part by the middle rectal vein. Now lymphatic drainage. Lymphatic drainage of the rectum is upper part by the pararectal group of lymph nodes, and the lower part of rectum drains into internal iliac group of lymph nodes. Then nerve supply is the sympathetic and parasympathetic innervation. Parasympathetic innervation is from the first and second lumbar spinal nerves, and parasympathetic is by the pelvic splenic nerve. Its group value is S2, S3, S4. Now, so till here we have seen the peritoneal relations of the rectum, then other relations of the rectum. Posterior relations of rectum are very important. They can also be asked in the viva when you are given sacrum, because most of the structures are related to the sacrum. So there it can be asked what are the posterior relations of the rectum. Then you should know about the rectal venous plexus in detail, because that is also important for the in the anal canal from the hemorrhoids point of view. Now we have seen the supports of rectum. Now supports of rectum is by the pelvic diaphragm, which is formed by the levator ani and coccygeus muscle. Now you see, now you know that around the rectum and anal canal there is present a pad of fat, that is the echiorectal pad of fat. Then we have seen their facial thickenings. Fascia wall there connects the posterior aspect of rectum with the anterior surface of sacrum and coccyx. Then lateral ligament. So laterally the fascia gets thickened to form lateral ligament, which connect the lateral wall of pelvis to the rectum, and its lateral ligament contain the middle rectal vessels. All these fascial supports are important because they provide the support to the rectum, keep the rectum in place, and if there is any weakness in all these supports, it leads to rectal prolapse. So this is one of the applied aspect of the rectum. So if there is any weakness in these supports, in these facial supports and the pelvic diaphragm, that is a muscular support, then it leads to rectal prolapse. Now, this is in this diagram you can see, this is the normal, this is the rectum, this is the anal canal, this is the anal orifice, and here you can see because of the weakness of the supports of the rectum, you can see the rectum is prolapsing through the anal orifice. There are two types of rectal prolapse. If there only occurs a mucosal prolapse, that is known as partial prolapse, and if there is a full prolapse, that is all the layers of rectum they come out through the anal orifice, that is known as full thickness prolapse, that is also known as procedentia. Okay, so rectal prolapse. So any weakness in the supports of the rectum, muscular support or facial support, leads to the prolapse of the rectum. That can be partial, that is only mucosal prolapse can occur, or it can full thickness, that is all the layers of the rectum they come out through the anal orifice, that is known as procedentia. Now patient commonly present with the bleeding per rectal bleeding. In the per rectal bleeding, often the surgeon goes for the per rectal examination. In the per rectal examination, a finger is passed through the anal orifice, which passes through the anal canal and then the rectum. So through the anterior wall of the rectum in the males, you can see the base of bladder, prostate gland, and posteriorly you can feel the sacrum and coccyx. Similarly, in the per rectal examination of the females and through the anterior wall, the vagina can be felt, and posteriorly again sacrum and coccyx. So mainly in the surgery OPD, if the patient present with the per rectal bleeding or any, then commonly per rectal examination is done to rule for any growth in the rectum, any then for any hemorrhoids are felt, whether they are enlarged hemorrhoids are present. So all these things for per rectal examination is done. Then nowadays for better instruments are available, that is proctoscopy is done by using a proctoscope through which you can see the interior of anal canal and the rectum. So with this instrument we can examine for any growth in the rectum or any other, so that is proctoscopy is done. Then carcinoma of the rectum is a common condition, especially it occurs at the rectosigmoid junction. Now, carcinoma of rectum is important because it shows a lymphatic spread. There are to the local lymph nodes to the surrounding lymph nodes. Then it shows a venous spread. Now you know that by the rectal venous plexus, it can through the superior rectal vein, which continues as inferior mesenteric vein, and inferior mesenteric veins drain into the splenic vein, and splenic vein drains into the drains into the portal vein. So by the portal vein, by this venous route, it can spread to the liver. Then directly it can spread anteriorly. It is related to the urethra in the male, so there it can spread to the urethra, leading to the rectourethral fistula. Similarly, in the females, it can spread to the vagina, leading to rectovaginal fistula. So spread of carcinoma due to it is widespread spread. So in this case, in a patient with a carcinoma of the rectum, so usually the part of the anal canal and rectum and also some part of sigmoid colon is removed, and then colostomy is done in the patient. Colostomy means the terminal part of colon होगा, उसको हम anterior abdominal wall में open कर देते हैं for the removal of the feces. So this is the about the carcinoma of rectum. So this is all about the rectum we have studied. That is, where is the location, what is rectum, where is the location of the rectum, what is the extent of the rectum, then what are the important relations of the rectum, peritoneal as well as non-peritoneal anterior posterior relations, then what are the supports of the rectum, then in relation to supports of the rectum, rectal prolapse, then rectosigmoid junction is also a common site of carcinoma of the rectum, which can show lymphatic, venous and direct spread. And So why the lymphatic spread? It can show spread to the surrounding lymph nodes. Venous route, it can spread to the liver, and direct it can lead to the fistula formation anteriorly with the urethra in males and vagina in females. So this is all about the rectum. Any question regarding rectum? So that we can proceed to the, yes, anybody want to ask anything about the rectum? Anybody? Should we go to the inner canal? Is rectum clear to all of you? Anybody want to ask anything? This is a proctoscopy. This is an instrument. जैसे आजकल काफी स्कोपीज होती हैं. There is an instrument that is used to see the interior of, जैसे esophagoscopy होती है, bronchoscopy होती है. इसी तरह anterior of rectum देखने के लिए proctoscopy करते हैं. These are the flexible instruments with a light at the anterior end, which is done. These are flexible instruments, fibro-optic instruments, which are used nowadays for seeing the interior of the structures like bronchoscopy, esophagoscopy, proctoscopy. This diagram you want to ask or anything else? Yes, roll number 108. This diagram you want to ask or something else? Okay. This is just a scopies. आजकल commonly scopies करते हैं. These are with the flexible fiber optic instruments होते हैं बेटा. उसके आगे light लगी होती है, and you can directly see screen पे सब कुछ आ जाता है, interior आ जाता है सारा. तो अगर तो जैसे इसोफेगोस्कोपी करते हैं तो पूरा आपका इसोफेगस एंड अपर पार्ट ऑफ स्टमक दिख जाता है. सो इफ देयर इज एनी अल्सरेशन, कोई भी वहां पे फॉर कोई ग्रोथ हो रही हो तो डायरेक्टली वो स्क्रीन पे आ जाता है सारा. जैसे टीवी स्क्रीन होता है ना, उस पे सब कुछ आ जाता है. these are fiber optic instruments are available. So nowadays this is commonly done. Anything else anybody want to ask, or we go to the anal canal part? Should we go now at so now we are moving to the anal canal part. Now you know the divisions of the perineum. That perineum is divided into the two parts by an imaginary transverse line passing through the anterior part of ischial tuberosity into anterior into urogenital triangle and posteriorly into inner triangle. So now you know that in the inner triangle, so in this diagram, now in the inner triangle, anal canal is present in the and ischiorectal fossa, which are filled with the fat. So anal canal is basically present in the midline of the inner triangle, which is a part of the perineum. Now, what are the special features of anal canal? So it is about 38 to 40 millimeter long, or you can see 3.8 centimeter long to 4 centimeter long. So here also characteristic feature tinea coli circulations are absent, but it is surrounded by sphincters, both voluntary and involuntary sphincters, which keep the anal canal usually closed, and it only opens up during the passage of the feces. So, anal canal, which is situated in the inner triangle region of the perineum. So it lies, now you know, inner rectal, so it extends from inorectal junction to the inner orifice, and inorectal junction lies about 2 to 3 centimeter in front of the tip of the coccyx. So this is the tip of the coccyx. So inorectal junction lies about 2 to 3 centimeter in front of the tip of coccyx and just below the tip of the coccyx. Now, if you see the relations of the inner canal, posteriorly it is. Now this is the sagittal section of the male pelvis. So here you can see this is anteriorly is the pubic bone, posteriorly is the sacrum and coccyx, and this is the inococcygeal raphe. Anteriorly, just behind the pubic bone, there is a urinary bladder. This is the prostate gland. This is the prostatic part of urethra within the prostate gland, and you can see this is the anal canal. So this anal canal is posteriorly related to anococcygeal raphe and anteriorly it is related to the perineal body. Do you remember what is perineal body? Do you remember what is perineal body? Anybody who can tell me what is perineal body? Anybody who can tell? Very good, roll number 1. So it is basically what it is. 10 muscles meet तो ठीक है, पर होता क्या है ये? It is a fibromuscular node where about the 10 muscles meet. Very good. So it is a fibromuscular node where about the 10 muscles they meet and it plays an important role in providing the support to the pelvic organs. Especially in females, it is very important. It provides the support to the pelvic viscera. Now, so perineal body, it is anteriorly, it is rectum is related, sorry, anal canal is related to the perineal body. So here you can see, this is also sagittal section of the male pelvis, anteriorly pubic bone, posteriorly sacrum and coccyx. Just behind the pubis, this is urinary bladder, prostate gland. This is the prostatic urethra. This is the bulbous part. This is the bulbous part of the urethra. And this is the perineal body. So posteriorly, anal canal is related to anococcygeal raphe. Anteriorly, it is related to the perineal body and the bulbous part of urethra. This smaller part is the bulbous part of the urethra. And in the females, again posteriorly it is related to anococcygeal raphe, but anteriorly it is related to the perineal body and to the vagina. So this is the sagittal section of the female pelvis. Anteriorly pubic bone, posteriorly sacrum and coccyx. This is the just behind the pubic bone. This is the urinary bladder. This is the short urethra. This is the uterus and cervix, and this is the vaginal canal. This is the rectum and anal canal. So this anal canal is anteriorly related to the perineal body and to the lower part of the vagina. So posterior relation common, anococcygeal raphe, and anteriorly related to perineal body in both the sexes. On either side of the anal canal, there is ischiorectal fossa, which are filled with fat and they provide the support to the anal canal. Now comes the important part, interior of anal canal. Commonly, interior of anal canal पे क्वेश्चन आता है. Now please remember, आपको जितने भी विसरा करा रहे हैं उस पे किसी पे भी लॉन्ग क्वेश्चन आ सकता है. आपको पता है आपके फाइनल एग्जाम में 10 मार्क्स का क्वेश्चन आते हैं. तो जितने भी विसरा है, डोंट रेफर द आपका जो सिर्फ इमीडिएटली बैच है उसके पेपर यूजफुल हो सकते हैं. उससे पहले के पेपर में जो है 3 या 5 मार्क्स के शॉर्ट नोट आते थे, उससे बड़े शॉर्ट नोट नहीं आते थे. ठीक है, तो कंप्लीटली उनको फॉलो नहीं करना है क्योंकि किसी भी विसरा पे आपको फुल क्वेश्चन आ सकता है. जैसे पहले आप अगर प्रीवियस ईयर पेपर देखोगे तो उसमें आपको सिर्फ इंटीरियर ऑफ एनल कैनाल पे क्वेश्चन दिखेगा. तो अभी आपको 10 मार्क्स के क्वेश्चन में पूरा एनल कैनाल पूछा जा सकता है, पूरा रेक्टम पूछा जा सकता है, पूरा यूरिनरी ब्लैडर, प्रोस्टेट, कोई भी विसरा 10 मार्क्स में इजीली पूछा जा सकता है. ठीक है, सो मेक अ डोंट डू सिलेक्टिव रीडिंग फॉलोइंग द प्रीवियस ईयर पेपर्स. ठीक है, I repeat, don't read the selective part by following the 10 year papers क्योंकि उसमें कोई भी 10 मार्क को क्वेश्चन नहीं आता था. And you are not at all in habit of drawing the diagrams. None of you had drawn the diagram of lesser sac of the perineal pouch, perineal superficial perineal pouch. तो attempt ही बहुत कम ने किया. Then very few have drawn the diagram for the relations of the kidney. So in a 10 marks question, diagrams are very important. So now we come to the interior of anal canal, which is important. Now you know it is about 38 to 40 millimeter long and it is divided into 3 parts. Upper part, middle part, lower part. Upper part is about 15 millimeter, middle is 15 millimeter and lower is 8 to 10 millimeter. Now what are the details? Now please hear the details of upper part clearly. Now it shows upper part shows it is basically lined by simple columnar epithelium and it shows vertical folds of mucous membrane. ठीक है, these are the vertical folds of mucous membrane. आपकी बुक में भी डायग्राम किया हुआ है, page number 482. So it shows a vertical fold of mucous membrane. These vertical folds of mucous membrane, they are known as anal columns. Then this lower end of these vertical folds, they are joined by transverse folds which are known as anal valves. I repeat, it shows vertical fold of mucous membrane, these are known as anal columns, and they are joined by the lower ends of the anal columns, they are joined by the transverse fold of mucous membrane which are known as anal valves. Okay? This lower end of anal valves, they form a line that is known as pectinate line. This is very important क्योंकि आप arterial supply, venous drainage जो भी लिखोगे, with all these anal valves, they form a transverse line that is known as pectinate line or also known as dentate line. Now, again the same diagram. Now here these are the anal columns. And below are anal walls. Above each anal wall, there is a depression is present. This white arrow is pointing toward a depression or space that is known as anal sinus. These spaces above each anal wall is known as anal sinus, and anal sinuses receive the opening of anal glands. Okay? These openings of anal glands, they are known as crypts. So, I repeat, longitudinal fold of mucous membrane, they are known as anal columns. These in the lower end of anal columns, they are joined by transverse folds known as anal valves. Above each anal wall, there is a space that is known as anal sinus. Anal sinus receives the opening of anal glands, and these openings, they are known as crypts of anal glands. The lower, these all anal valves, they join to form a transverse line that is known as pectinate line or also known as dentate line. Okay? Now, sometimes during the passage of the hard stools, there occur the injury to the anal valves that is known as anal fissure. So, what is anal fissure? During the passage of the hard stools, there occur the injury to the anal valves. Okay? There occur the injury to the anal valves that is known as anal fissure. So, and remember each anal column, ये जो हमने पढ़ा था कि इंटरनल रेक्टल वीनस प्लेक्सस के अपर एंड से स्टार्ट होती हैं टर्मिनल रेडिकल्स ऑफ सुपीरियर रेक्टल वेन. Each anal column contains the terminal radicals of superior rectal vein and also it contains the superior rectal artery. So each anal column contains terminal radical of superior rectal artery and superior rectal vein. तो दोनों होते हैं, artery और vein दोनों होते हैं उसमें. What is anal fissure? Passage of hard stools may injure anal valves. हमने पढ़ा है कि above each anal valve there is present a space that is known as anal sinus. कई बार क्या होता है जो posterior wall पे anal sinus present on anterior wall. So sometimes fecal material may get impacted here and that fecal material का infection हो जाता है and it leads to the infection of that anal sinus. And अगर उस infection को ना control किया जाए, ultimately lead to abscess formation. ठीक है? I repeat, the sinuses which are present on posterior wall, they are more deep. Sometimes the fecal material get impacted there and it leads to infection of anal sinus. And if that infection is not controlled at a proper time, treated at proper time, it leads to abscess formation. Then we have seen that a line that is known as pectinate line or dentate line. So that pectinate line divides the anal canal into two parts. These two parts differ in blood supply, nerve supply, lymphatic drainage, and development. So, इसलिए pectinate line बहुत important है. So, this is a pectinate line. So, which divides the anal canal into two parts, which differ in development, arterial supply, venous drainage, lymphatic drainage, and nerve supply. So, this you have to remember. So, upper part के features बहुत important है. So, upper part of anal canal show vertical folds of mucous membrane which are known as anal columns. There are about 6 to 10 anal columns. Each anal column contains terminal radicle of superior rectal artery and vein. Lower end of the anal column, they are joined by transverse fold methods जो है. All these anal walls they join to form a line that is known. So that pectinate line divides the anal canal into two parts, upper and lower part, and these two parts differ in blood supply, lymphatic drainage, nerve supply, and well. ठीक है? If there occur any injury to anal wall due to passage of hot stools, that is known as anal fissure. And sometimes there are the anal sinuses which are present on the posterior wall where the fecal material can collect, and ultimately there can occur the infection of the anal sinus and ultimately abscess for. और ये पॉइंट आपने जरूर याद रखना है. Each anal column contains terminal radicle of superior rectal artery and vein. ठीक है? This point is important and dentate line is important. Is it clear to you? Upper part. Any question in the upper part? Any question in the upper part? Anal column, anal wall, anal sinus. What is anal fissure? What is pectinate line? Is it clear to all of you? Now we come to the middle part. This middle part here, the lining epithelium is stratified squamous epithelium. So you can see above the pectinate line it is simple columnar epithelium, and below the pectinate line now it is stratified squamous epithelium. The middle part, the mucosa, is bluish in color because of the presence of the venous plexus, and the lower limit of it is there at the lower limit of middle part, which is also known as pecten part. It is whitish in color, so it is known as white line of Hilton. Then is the lower part. The lower part is lined by true skin, that is stratified squamous retinised epithelium. So as it is lined by true skin, it contains sebaceous glands, sweat glands, and hair follicles. So maximum features are seen in the also known as pecten part. Lower limit, at the lower limit of pecten is white line of Hilton, and the lower part is lined by true skin. Now is the musculature of the anal canal, which includes the factors which provide which basically keep the anal canal closed. So internal anal sphincter, external anal sphincter, anolateral ring, and conjoint longitudinal cord. Now we'll see. So this is the anal canal. Now first it is surrounded by the internal anal sphincter. Internal anal sphincter surrounds the upper 3/4 of the anal canal. It is formed by the thickening of the circular muscle cord of the rectum, and it is involuntary in nature, and it has the autonomic innervation. So internal anal sphincter surrounds only the upper 3/4 of anal canal. External anal sphincter surrounds the whole of the anal canal. It is divided into three parts: deep part, superficial part, subcutaneous part. Same चीज हमने कहाँ पे देखी थी? Where we have seen the same sphincters. In which diagram have you studied? In which diagram you have studied? Yes, anybody who remembers in which diagram you have studied the same thing? Which diagram we have studied? In the ischiorectal fossa. Very good. So there are three parts of external anal sphincter. That is a deep part, superficial part, subcutaneous part. Okay, so all these three parts of the sphincter. So you can see external anal sphincter surrounds the whole of the anal canal, and it has three parts, and it has somatic innervation. It is supplied by external inferior rectal nerve, and which is a branch of pudendal nerve, and by the perineal branch of fourth sacral nerve. So it has somatic innervation. So here you can see this is the tuborectal sling, and there are three parts of external anal sphincter: deep part, superficial part, subcutaneous part. Now you can see the superficial part has bony attachment body, And external inner sphincter, it is supplied by inferior rectal nerve, which is a branch of pudendal nerve, and the perineal branch of fourth sector. Now we see what is conjoint. So हमने पढ़ा एक internal inner sphincter है, which is involuntary nature, external inner sphincter, which is voluntary in nature. External inner sphincter के तीन part है, deep, superficial, subcutaneous part. Now we'll see the what is conjoint longitudinal cord. ये चीज हमने जब हमने इक्वियोरेक्टल फोसा पढ़ा था तब भी अंडरस्टैंड करी थी. Now this is the rectum part. This is below is anal canal part. This is the longitudinal muscle cord of the rectum. ठीक है, and this is a circular cord of rectum. This circular cord of rectum forms the internal anal sphincter. This is the longitudinal cord of rectum, and this is the pivorectalis part of levator ani. The longitudinal muscle cord of rectum joins with the pivorectalis part of levator ani to form the conjoint longitudinal cord. I repeat, longitudinal muscle cord of rectum joins with the pivorectalis part of levator ani to form conjoint longitudinal cord, which is fibroelastic in nature. At the junction of the superficial and subcutaneous part of the external inner sphincter, it splits into a number of fibrous septa, and these fibrous septa pierce the subcutaneous part of external inner sphincter. The most lateral space in two parts, perianal space and ischiorectal space. This is the diagram of ischiorectal fossa जब हमने उस टाइम पढ़ा था. This is the rectum and anal canal part. This is the circular cord of rectum which thickens to form internal anal sphincter. Same diagram आपके 33.13 में दिया हुआ है. So this is the circular muscle cord. This pinkish arrow is pointing towards the circular muscle cord which thickens to form the internal anal sphincter. This greenish arrow is pointing towards the longitudinal muscle cord of rectum, which joins with the pivorectalis part of levator ani to form the conjoint longitudinal cord. And this conjoint longitudinal cord splits into number of fibrous elastic septa, which pierce the subcutaneous part of the external anal sphincter. This brownish arrow is pointing towards the subcutaneous part of external anal sphincter. This is the deep part. This is the superficial part. And last is anorectal, formed by the fusion of fibers of pivorectalis with the internal anal sphincter and the deep part of external anal sphincter. So this pivorectalis fibers form a sling, and this whenever the pivorectalis fibers they contract, so this is basically present at the anorectal junction. जहाँ पे वो perineal flexure बनता है ना, वहाँ पे ये pivorectalis sling होता है, and along with the deep sphincter and the internal anal sphincter it forms a ring. So जब भी pivorectalis muscle contract करेगी, it will increase the angle between the rectum and anal canal and will provide the support to the rectum and anal canal. So if there occurs any injury to incontinence, also known as fecal incontinence or bowel incontinence, ठीक है? So these are the four muscular supports of the anal canal: internal anal sphincter, external anal sphincter, anorectangular king, and conjoint longitudinal cord. Now we come to the arterial supply of anal canal. Arterial supply above the pectinate line is superior rectal artery. Now you know superior rectal artery is a continuation of inferior mesenteric artery, which is the line inferior rectal artery, which is a branch of internal pudendal artery, and internal pudendal artery is a branch of internal iliac artery. Now is the venous drainage. Now venous drainage में simple यहाँ पे जैसे यहाँ पे पूरा plexus लिखा हुआ है, पर जैसे आप some books they have written simple above the pectinate line it is superior rectal vein and in below the pectinate line it is the inferior rectal vein. ठीक है, पर यहाँ पे क्योंकि आपने हेमोरॉइड्स के बारे में लिखना है, so describe the rectal venous plexus in detail. ठीक है, so now I repeat once again, rectal venous plexus into two: internal rectal venous plexus, external renal plexus. Internal rectal venous plexus, from the upper end of internal rectal venous plexus starts the terminal radicals of superior rectal vein. टर्मिनल रेडिकल्स जो होती हैं वो एनल कॉलम से प्रेजेंट होती है. अब आपको पता है ये एनल कॉलम्स है और यहाँ पे आप देखते हो दे आर प्रेजेंट टर्मिनल रेडिकल्स ऑफ सुपीरियर रेक्टल वेन along with the superior rectal artery. ये terminal radicals यहाँ पे inner columns में होते हैं. Superior rectal vein along with superior rectal artery. फिर ये terminal radicals join करके बनाते हैं superior rectal vein which continues as आपने याद रखना है each inner column contains a terminal venous radicals of superior rectal vein along with superior rectal artery. Lower part of external rectal venous plexus is drained by inferior rectal vein, and the middle part of rectal venous plexus is drained by the middle rectal vein, which drains into the internal iliac vein. Is it clear? Rectal venous plexus सबको समझ आ गया है? समझ आ गया है rectal venous plexus? अच्छा, अब ये देखो, ये जो डायग्राम ड्रॉ किया गया है, ये डायग्राम कैसे हमें इस पोजीशन में किया हुआ है. द पर्सन इज इन लिथोटॉमिक पोजीशन. लिथोटॉमिक पोजीशन मींस द पर्सन इज इन सुपाइन पोजीशन विद द थाइज एब्डक्टेड एंड फ्लेक्स्ड. जिस पोजीशन में हम क्या कहते हैं पेरिनियम की बाउंड्रीज डिस्क्राइब करते हैं, दैट इज द पर्सन इज इन सुपाइन पोजीशन विद थाइज एब्डक्टेड एंड स्लाइटली फ्लेक्स्ड. So this position में लिथोटॉमिक पोजीशन में जिसमें हम पेरिनियम की बाउंड्रीज डिस्क्राइब करते हैं, पोजीशन डिस्क्राइब करते हैं. एंटीरियर, पोस्टीरियर, राइट लैटरल, लेफ्ट लैटरल, देन राइट एंटीरियर, राइट पोस्टीरियर, लेफ्ट एंटीरियर, लेफ्ट पोस्टीरियर. ये पोजीशन जैसे क्लॉक की तरह होती है, उस तरह हम ये पोजीशन डिस्क्राइब करते हैं. ठीक है, दैट इज एंटीरियर, पोस्टीरियर, राइट लेटरल, लेफ्ट लेटरल, राइट एंटीरियर, राइट पोस्टीरियर, लेफ्ट एंटीरियर, लेफ्ट पोस्टीरियर. ठीक है, अब हमने पढ़ा है कि ईच एनल कॉलम में ईच एनल कॉलम कंटेन्स terminal radicals, terminal venous radicals of superior rectal vein, and it also contains the branches of superior rectal artery. हर एक anal column में होते हैं. पर 3 पोजीशंस ऐसी होती हैं anal column की जिन पोजीशंस में ये जो venous radicals हैं वो ज्यादा enlarge होते हैं. 3 पोजीशंस ऐसी हैं anal column की जिनमें ये venous radicals ज्यादा enlarge होते हैं. वो कौन सी पोजीशन है? राइट एंटीरियर, राइट पोजीशन, राइट पोस्टीरियर एंड लेफ्ट लेटरल. ये देखिए, ये 3 पोजीशन है. एट दीज 3 पोजीशंस द venous radicals which are present in anal columns they are more enlarged. वो ज्यादा वहां पे प्रोमिनेंट होते हैं. और इन 3 पोजीशंस पे राइट एंटीरियर, राइट पोस्टीरियर, लेफ्ट लेटरल पोजीशन पे कनेक्टिव टिश्यू फ्रेमवर्क भी ज्यादा enlarged होता है. So these 3 positions इनको हम anal cushions भी कहते हैं. anal cushions ये वर्ड आपके बुक में नहीं दिया हुआ है, मैं आपकी इंफॉर्मेशन के लिए बता रही हूँ. पर ये चीज जरूर दी हुई है कि इन 3 पोजीशंस पे जो टर्मिनल वीनस रेडिकल्स हैं वो ज्यादा इनलार्ज होते हैं. पर याद रखना उसके साथ साथ इन 3 पोजीशंस पे कनेक्टिव टिश्यू भी इनलार्ज होता है, इसलिए इन 3 पोजीशंस को हम एनल कुशंस भी कहते हैं. सो बेसिकली जो पाइल्स होते हैं या हीमोरॉइड्स होते हैं उन ये 3 पोजीशंस पे ज्यादा कॉमन होते हैं. राइट एंटीरियर, राइट पोस्टीरियर, लेफ्ट लैटरल. ठीक है, so anal column contains terminal radical of superior rectal artery and vein. याद रखना आर्टरी वेन दोनों होता है, उसमें आर्टेरियो-वेनस कम्युनिकेशन होता है. These vessels are largest in left lateral, right anterior, right posterior quadrants of wall of anal canal. ठीक है, और इसको हम क्लॉकवाइज कहते हैं, 3 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 11 o'clock पोजीशन. सो इन पोजीशंस पे जो एनल कॉलम्स में टर्मिनल रेडिकल्स ऑफ सुपीरियर रेक्टल वेन या आर्टरी होते हैं वो ज्यादा इनलार्ज होते हैं. So at these sites, subepithelial tissue is also enlarged and form the anal cushions. So anal cushions क्या होते हैं? ये 3 sites anal canal की वॉल में रेक्टल आर्टरी एंड वेन enlarged होते हैं और साथ में सबएपिथेलियल टिश्यू यानी सबएपिथेलियम मींस कनेक्टिव टिश्यू भी ज्यादा enlarged होता है, prominent होता है. So these 3 sites they are known as anal cushions. So what is basically hemorrhoids? Piles. So common word जो use किया जाता है that is piles. So it is abnormal enlargement of anal cushions. It is abnormal enlargement of anal cushions. क्योंकि commonly जो piles होते हैं या hemorrhoids होते हैं वो इन 3 positions पे ही होते हैं. So with reference to dentate line हमने पाइल्स को दो टाइप में डिवाइड कर दिया, इंटरनल एंड एक्सटर्नल। कई बुक में इंटरनल, हमारी जो एनाटॉमी की बुक्स है उसमें यूजली इंटरनल एक्सटर्नल वर्ड यूज किया जाता है, बट कई बार सर्जरी में वो उसको ग्रेडिंग सिर्फ इंटरनल एक्सटर्नल में नहीं डिवाइड करते हैं, ग्रेड टू ग्रेडिंग, ठीक है। इंटरनल अबव द डेंटेट लाइन, एक्सटर्नल बिलो द डेंटेट लाइन। अगर आप अपनी बुक में देखोगे, इफ यू सी योर बुक, इसमें सिंपल लिखा है। अगर आपको ये चीज नहीं याद रहती है तो सिर्फ इतना याद रखो कि व्हाट इज इंटरनल पाइल्स। इंटरनल पाइल्स इज द enlargement of venous plexus, internal rectal venous plexus above the dentate line, and enlargement of internal rectal venous plexus below the dentate line is known as external piles। अगर आपको anal cushion word में confusion होती है तो सिंपल याद रखो enlargement of internal rectal venous plexus, because basically anal cushion में भी क्या है, venous plexus है और arterial plexus है, और ये above that और venous plexus सारा communicate करता है आपस में, internal और external। so अगर आपको anal cushion word में confusion होती है तो सिंपल याद रखो enlargement of internal rectal venous plexus above the dentate line is known as internal hemorrhoid। जैसे आप देख सकते हो, this is internal hemorrhoid, below the dentate line enlargement of venous plexus is known as external hemorrhoid। सिंपल इतना याद रखो। पर एक चीज याद रखनी है, कॉमनली कौन सी पोजीशन में इंटरनल हीमोरॉइड्स होता है, 3 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 11 o'clock, दैट इज राइट एंटीरियर, राइट पोस्टीरियर एंड लेफ्ट लेटरल पोजीशन में। दीज आर द पोजीशन ऑफ द इनर कॉलम्स जो विद रिस्पेक्ट टू लिथोटॉमी पोजीशन डिस्क्राइब करी गई है। सो इन सिंपल वर्ड्स, enlargement of venous internal rectus venous plexus above the dentate line is known as internal hemorrhoids, below the dentate line is known as external hemorrhoids। Internal hemorrhoids are common at 3 positions, 3 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 11 o'clock, और या फिर इनको लेफ्ट लेटरल, राइट एंटीरियर, राइट पोस्टीरियर। ये पोजीशन कैसे डिस्क्राइब करी गई है, with the person in lithotomy position। अगर इस पोजीशन पे इंटरनल हीमोरॉइड्स होता है तो उसको प्राइमरी पाइल्स कहते हैं, अगर इसके अलावा किसी और पोजीशन पे होता है तो उसको सेकेंडरी पाइल्स कहते हैं। ये आपकी बुक में जैसे डिस्क्राइब किया है मैंने उस तरह बताया है, ठीक है। Is it clear to all of you? This is another diagram showing the internal hemorrhoid. This is prolapse of pile। क्या होता है कि जब कंटिन्यूसली हम कहते हैं कि फाइबर डाइट खानी चाहिए, नहीं तो कॉन्स्टिपेशन हो जाती है, हार्ट स्टूल्स आते हैं। व्हाई? बिकॉज अगर किसी को इंटरनल हीमोरॉइड्स है, इंटरनल हीमोरॉइड्स में वो कंटिन्यूसली स्ट्रेन करता है और या फिर हार्ट स्टूल पास करता है तो धीरे धीरे जो हीमोरॉइड्स है वो प्रोलैप्स होने शुरू हो जाते हैं, दे स्टार्ट प्रोलैप्सिंग। सो दिस इज द प्रोलैप्सिंग ऑफ द हीमोरॉइड्स। और कंटिन्यूसली अगर वो स्ट्रेन करता रहेगा, हार्ट स्टूल पैसेज करता रहेगा, तो क्या होता है, देर में अकर द इंजरी टू द प्रोलैप्स हीमोरॉइड्स। इसीलिए कई पेशेंट को तब पता चलता है जब ब्लीडिंग पैरेक्टस शुरू होता है, ठीक है। सो यूजुअली देयर मोस्ट ऑफ द पेशेंट्स है प्रेजेंट विद द पेनलेस पैरेक्टल ब्लीडिंग। सो पेनलेस पैरेक्टल ब्लीडिंग का कॉमन कॉज इज हीमोरॉइड्स, ठीक है। सो इज इट क्लियर टू यू व्हाट आर हीमोरॉइड्स? Anybody want to ask anything till about the hemorrhoids? So is it clear to you what are hemorrhoids? So they are in yes, roll number 131। आपको क्लियर हुआ है कि नहीं हुआ है? नो मैडम और क्लियर दोनों का कंफ्यूजन है आपके बेटे? आपको कुछ पूछना है कि नहीं पूछना है? ओके, सो आई रिपीट सिंपल वर्ड्स, hemorrhoids is enlargement of rectal venous plexus। If the enlargement of the rectal venous plexus occurs above the dentate line, that is internal hemorrhoids. If below the dentate line, it is external hemorrhoids। Internal hemorrhoids are common at 3 positions, 3 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 11 o'clock। 3 o'clock means 3 o'clock is left lateral, then 7 o'clock right anterior, then 11 o'clock is right posterior। 3 पोजीशन पे इनको कॉमनली प्राइमरी पाइल्स किया जाता है। एक बार पाइल्स इंटरनल हीमोरॉइड्स हो जाए, यूजुअली वो पेनलेस होता है, पेनफुल नहीं होता है। इंटरनल, एक्सटर्नल इज पेनफुल, इंटरनल इज पेनलेस। इंटरनल हीमोरॉइड इससे ज्यादा जल्दी पता नहीं चलता है पेशेंट को, पता जब चलता है जब वो प्रोलैप्स हो जाता है, उसके बाद ब्लीडिंग होना चालू हो जाता है, क्योंकि ये पेनलेस होता है, ठीक है। और एक्सटर्नल हेमोरॉइड्स यूजुअली क्या होता है, इट इज जस्ट बीनीथ द स्किन होता है, कॉमनली क्या होता है, इट प्रेजेंट्स एज अ, आपको उस एरिया में पिचिंग होगी या पेन होगी, क्योंकि एक्सटर्नल हेमोरॉइड्स इज पेनफुल, इंटरनल हेमोरॉइड्स इज पेनलेस. ठीक है, दिस इज अगेन शोइंग द इंटरनल हेमोरॉइड्स, prolapse internal hemorrhoids, this is external hemorrhoids. Then is the lymphatic drainage above the dentate line into internal iliac nodes, below the dentate line into superficial inguinal tube of lymph nodes. Now nerve supply is important. Above the dentate line it is autonomic innervation, इसलिए क्योंकि above the dentate line autonomic innervation होता है, इसलिए above the dentate line जो internal hemorrhoids होते हैं they are painless. वो या तो इंटरनल हेमोरॉइड्स प्रोलैप्स कर जाते हैं और या फिर उनकी इंजरी हो जाती है तो उसमें से पेन ब्लीडिंग होने लग जाती है. तो यूजुअली पेशेंट प्रेजेंट विद द पेनलेस पारेक्टल ब्लीडिंग. lower part of anal canal that is below the pectinate line is by the inferior rectal nerve, so it is a somatic innervation, so it is a pain sensitive area. So इसलिए external hemorrhoids जो below the dentate line होते हैं they are usually painful. Usually patients present with a pain in the perianal skin or some itching in the perianal skin. So mucosa above the pectinate line is pain insensitive, so internal piles remain asymptomatic for a long time till they become big enough to rupture and cause painless bleeding per rectal. So usually patient present with this symptom. So painless bleeding per rectum होता है तो उसमें per rectal examination डॉक्टर को करना ही पड़ता है, सर्जन को, क्योंकि उसका कॉज हेमोरॉइड्स भी हो सकता है और उसका कॉज कार्सिनोमा इन रेक्टम भी हो सकता है. So remember, painless perianal hematoma is different from external hemorrhoids. External hemorrhoids जो होता है वो that is due to the enlargement of venous plexus, और perianal hematoma जो होता है that is due to rupture of some blood vessel beneath the skin. So perianal hematoma is different from external hemorrhoids. Remember. So we have seen what is fissure, what is piles or hemorrhoids. Now we have studied that ischiorectal fossa is a which is full of fat is a common site for abscess formation, and that abscess, if not treated at a proper time, it can rupture. The abscess can rupture either into the anal canal or it can rupture onto the perianal skin. और कई बार दोनों जगह रप्चर हो जाता है तो there is a formation of abnormal passage between the anal canal and the perianal skin. That abnormal passage is known as fistula. ठीक है, so हमने जो important applied aspect rectum के साथ करा है that is rectal prolapse and the carcinoma of the rectum. ये दो important है applied aspect with the rectum. प्लस उसमें आपको अगर क्वेश्चन आता है तो पर रेक्टल एग्जामिनेशन के बारे में भी लिखना है. थर्ड, जो आपने एनल कैनाल के सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट जो अप्लाइड एस्पेक्ट है दैट इज द हेमोरॉइड्स और क्वाइट. You have to write in detail what is internal hemorrhoids, what is external hemorrhoids. You have to write the positions of the internal hemorrhoids, that is, and with respect to it, primary and external secondary parts. Then you should know what is anal fissure, which occurs due to the passage of the heart source and the rupture of anal walls. Then you should know what is the cause of the reason for the fistula. That is, fistula is basically formation of an abnormal passage. So rupture of the abscess can occur both into anal canal as well as in perianal skin, leading to formation of abnormal passage between anal canal and perianal skin. So that is known as fistula in anal. ठीक है, so these are the important applied aspect with respect to the anal canal. Okay, so here now we are completing the part of the abdomen and pelvis. So we are completing the part of the abdomen and pelvis. Next time we are going to start with the thorax part. Okay. So if anybody has any confusion regarding the rectum and anal canal, you can ask. Anybody having any? आपको मैंने अटेंडेंस देने को नहीं कहा है, मैंने पूछा आपको कोई प्रॉब्लम है कि नहीं.